All right, so your serve's going into the net. You toss it up, you hit it, you dump it into the net, and it's happening repeatedly. First of all, I know exactly how frustrating this is because I've gone through this struggle many times until I finally figured it out. And luckily, I have a 5-step process for you in this little video that's going to help you correct it, get back to hitting great serves, and start winning some more points. Now, before we get started, I want to mention 2 things. One, everything in this course is really predicated on the fact that you're using a continental grip. Okay, yes, you can hit serves with, an Eastern forehand grip, but if everything that we're doing in this course is really about the continental grip, because as I've mentioned probably 100 times, it's really the grip that allows you to hit all of the different serves. And second thing is, remember, as with all of these videos, the cure is really based on a step-by-step process. So you want to make sure that each step is correct and functioning properly before you go on to the next step. I hope that makes sense. So without, let's dive right in. All right, if you're hitting serves into the net, the first thing I want to do is I want to ask you a question. Are you trying to snap down on the ball? I know I had this problem because I actually had coaches tell me that you got to toss the ball up so you can snap down into the court. And the truth is, unless you're like 8 feet tall, you cannot physically hit down into the court. The physics just don't work. So you want to always be thinking about hitting up into the ball. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, that's going to create elevation, it's going to create spin, and it's going to allow the ball to clear the net. So make sure you're hitting up on the ball, not snapping down on it. And if you got that, let's go to step 2. All right, the next thing we got to do is we got to know if the toss is in the right place. And specifically, if your toss is going into the net, my psychic spidey senses will tell me that your toss is actually probably going too far into the court. And as you'll see, when I try to hit the ball too far in front, my racket face has to tilt downward. And obviously, if the racket face is tilting downward at contact, then the ball's going to go down. So we got to make sure the toss is in the right spot. And I've covered all of this in the perfect toss, which you should have in the Simple Serve 2.0. So make sure you go back and realize where your toss is going to be. Specifically, you're going to want it to be at the proper height, in the proper location, and that's going to be a little bit into the court, slightly different depending on if you're hitting a kick serve, a flat serve, or a slice serve. So make sure your toss is in the right spot. And then after that, let's go to step 3. All right, so we know we're hitting up onto the ball. We know the toss is in the right spot now, right? So let's go to the next step. If your serve is still going into the net, the next step is to make sure that our contact point is right. Okay, and specifically, we want to be at about 12:30 if you're a right-hander for a flat serve, a little bit into the court at full extension. If you're hitting a kick serve, we want to make sure that our contact's right around 12 o'clock, not quite at full extension, because we're actually going to accelerate the racket up and over the ball, okay, creating that spin. And finally, on our slice serve, we're going to want that contact right around 12:45 to 1 o'clock at about full extension, a little bit into the court. So we want to make sure that those contact points are correct for the serve that you're trying to hit. And if you got that right, let's go to step 4. All right, so you say, yeah, Ramon, I get it. I got my toss in the right spot. I'm not hitting down on the ball. I swear I'm hitting up. Contact point's right. My ball's still going into the net. What's happening? Well, I'll bet you it's probably cause number 4. And cause number 4 is we've done all the things correct, but we get curious, right? You want to see where the ball's going. And what happens is as we go up to hit the ball, we're starting great, and then right as we're getting to contact, we look down, try to see where the ball's going, and that brings everything down, including the racket face, and that causes the ball to go into the net. So what you want to do instead is you want to make sure that all the way up through contact, you're actually keeping your head and your shoulders up, thinking up the whole way. That'll help you hit up into the ball, and that should stop the ball from going into the net on you. And if it doesn't, let's go to step 5. All right, so we're hitting up into the ball, the toss is in the right spot, the contact point's there, and we're even keeping our head up through contact. but somehow, I don't know how, the ball's still going into the net. Then I want you to do the last thing, which I call exaggerate the cure. So what we're going to do, this is kind of a fun exercise, is we're just going to toss the ball up like you're going to hit a normal serve. But instead of trying to make it in the box, I want you to hit the ball really long. I mean, try to hit the back fence, okay? Just go for it. Just loosen up your arm and really try to hit the ball up and out, okay? And really go for the back fence. Do that about 10 times. Then once you've done that, I want you to go to the other extreme, and I want you to actually try and snap the ball down on your side of the court and bounce it over the net, okay? Sounds weird, but I want you to snap the ball down and bounce it over the net. What we've just done is we've recalibrated your aiming on your serve. And after you've done that 10 times, I want you to toss the ball up, keeping all of the things that we've already corrected, and try to hit the ball in the box. And if you're doing that, you'll be hitting some really, really good serves. So that takes care of the ball going into the net. Let's go on to another issue that you might be having on your serve.